allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes. Public comment, anything on
Nothing
social
yet.
media? No. We hear. We have volume. We're good. Clerk Treasurer, Parthone, claims approval.
Okay, we have civil city payroll from November 24th in the amount of $504,862.84.
I move we approve the civil city payroll.
Second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
We have civil city claims in the amount of $1,455,819.59.
I move we approve the civil city claims.
Second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
Sewage claims in the amount of $322,521.71.
I move we approve the sewage claims.
Second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
And water claims in the amount of $205,455.39.
I move we approve the water claims.
Second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes. Thank you, Clerk Treasurer Parthone. Department Head Reports. Pam Carroll, Park Department. We don't have much time left to get you, so I have to take
right.
advantage.
Just a couple of real quick things. I just wanted to report on the Senior Expo that we held on November 9th. It was very, very successful. We had over 257 attendees. And I wanted to give a big shout out to the headline sponsors, which were the Healthcare Foundation of LaPorte, Northwest Health, and Center for Hospice Care. Just to give you a little background on the senior center, when we took over the senior center, April of 2021, we had 45 members. We are now at 128 members, so it will continue to grow. We know that it's there. We know the people that want to be a part of it, and every month we get a few more, so great. The ice skating rink opened last weekend with over 90 skaters. And this weekend, we will open up again on Friday from 4 to 9, Saturday to 11 to 9 p.m., and then Sunday 1 to 7 p.m. And we will continue to do those weekend skating times until the holidays with the Christmas break for schools, and then we'll be open daily. And then just a quick reminder, Santa letters, if you want to have a Santa letter sent to somebody, deadline is Friday, and you just have to fill out the form that we have on our website, turn it in by Friday, and we'll get a letter out to them within the next week. Thank you.
And Pam, Amanda may not be aware of this, but 40 years?
41.
41 years with the City of LaPorte Park Department, retiring on,
My last day in the office will be December 22nd.
and I'll tell you, when you see the word commitment and what the definition means, Pam, you have been unbelievably committed to this community, and it's a better place because you've been here for so long, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Tim Werner, Water.
Good morning to the board. I just wanted to update the board real quick. About a week ago, we had a issue with our Kankakee number 1 well. Had a bad vibration in it, and after inspection, the vibration in the pump caused the column piping to come unscrewed. Very unusual problem. Peerless Midwest, who takes care of wells all over the country, has only seen it happen twice. So it's luckily it was an expensive emergency repair. Just to get it out, we had to have 2 large cranes come in, hold one side of the column piping while we torched it off so we wouldn't lose nothing. But thanks to the diligence of our crew and Peerless, we were able to save the screen. So at this point, it's just a pump and column pipe replacement. we'll go ahead and give it the old scrub down while we have it apart. That's typical. You have to pull all that equipment when you're cleaning the well anyway, so we're going to go ahead and take advantage of having all that equipment out of the well to do it. So that's why we didn't come to you guys with a quote or anything on it. It was kind of an emergency pull down and pull out. But we're thankful that the well itself wasn't damaged. It was just the equipment in the well. We're probably looking $40,000 to $50,000 to put this well back online with a pump and new column piping. It still produces well. That water from the Kankakee well field goes to the east plant, which does about 65% of our pumping. We have 5 other wells that feed that plant, so we're good right now for protection-wise, but it's one of our workhorses, so we'll be getting it back in action here. We got to wait for the column piping to come in, so probably sometime in January we're hoping to bring that well back online. The other thing I wanted to make the public aware of is people might have noticed driving through Soldier Memorial Park, we put in a couple gravel roads to the new well sites. We're hoping that the test wells will be drilled end of January, beginning of February. Then we'll start the pipeline once we know what those wells are going to produce, and we'll get another project marked off our list. So that's all I have this morning.
How old's the equipment in that well, the Kankakee one?
Not that old. So the well itself was drilled in the 80s. It replaced a well from the 50s. We just put a new pump in it in 2021. So it's kind of unfortunate that this
Is there any
happened.
like warranty work potential on that with that
A year.
timing?
A year is pretty standard on that. I don't know if we had a bearing failure in the pump that created some horrific vibration. That's the only thing we can come up with. Also in the investigation on the well, we also noticed there was a bad check, so we were probably allowing some water from the other wells to come in there. That might have contributed to this. It's hard, unless you're pulling all this equipment apart, it's hard to see if those check valves have failed or not. Our team pulls well levels and checks those wells daily, so it happened fast. We tend to believe that it probably started over the weekend, and then we noticed it Monday morning right away. And like I said, we were lucky it didn't punch a hole in the screen or anything, because that's a big deal. Once these wells are 130, 140 foot deep. The bottom 40 foot, 30 foot of them a screen, and that's an expensive fix once you damage that screen. So I know it sounds bad, but we were lucky the way it failed that it didn't punch a hole in the screen. So just one of those things. It was interesting talking with Peerless, because they deal with a lot of wells all over, and it's only the second time in any of the guys, even the pump guys that have been there 40 years, have ever seen this happen. So we really don't know. It started in the pump, the vibration, and somehow it unscrewed that column piping, and just an odd scenario. Like I said, we're lucky that the guys caught it when they did, to prevent damage in the well, not just the well equipment. So.
And financially, to be able to pay for that?
Oh yeah, we keep a lot of money set aside for our well maintenance and emergencies like this that come up. So wells aren't cheap to work on.
Jerry Jackson, wastewater.
We're going to start up our floatables pumping system. That work's been going on at the treatment plant now for a number of months. We'll start it up Thursday next week. All looks good. And on Surf Fiber, we're connecting, I think it's 7 sites. They're a mix of water and sewer sites, connecting up over fiber to our network as a test. There's 35 sites or so total. So we picked a small group, get the equipment in, get all running, get testing, and if that proves successful, we'll go on and finish the rest. And Surf's been a good partner to help us get it done.
Nick Minnick, engineering.
No report, thank you.
Nick Otis, legal.
Nothing specific from legal. Pam, just want to say thank you for your years of service, and you stepped up in the Men's Civic League the last couple of years and taken all the verbal abuse from the mayor. I did attend the Beechwood public meeting last night on the Beechwood Golf Course projects, and it's pretty exciting. It was very well received from all of the stakeholders and golfers at the golf course.
It was really great to see. I mean, usually when you have a meeting that discusses what type of things we're discussing can be controversial, and there was nothing but full support there. So it was a great job by Kyle Cashmere, and look forward to seeing that move
Yeah,
forward.
I think the point that Mark Schreiber and Kyle made was if they're going to change the course at all, it better to be to make the course better, and I think that the project does that. The other great thing is typically when you do improvements like that to a golf course, you got to shut the course down, and there's a way to do this project without shutting the course down at all, so that's great.
Jeff Batchelor, Streets, Code.
Yeah, we started our second round for leaves. We probably should finish that up. Maybe, hopefully, everything goes good except for the snow outside, the end of this week. And then just kind of want to bring it up that me and Paul's been working on switching animal control over to code enforcement during the day. He would still take care of emergencies at night, but during the day, we would take care of the calls. And she's getting probably, and it's Sheila Skuduri is the one that's taking care of the calls. She's doing a good job. We've got her signed up for training that she's doing right now. So just to kind of pass that on.
And the best animal control is pet owners taking
People taking care of their own
control of their own animal. Paul Breton,
Just with the weather coming on, a reminder of the 24-hour violations, we'll be picking those up so the plows can get around. And also just plead for the citizens to clean their cars off before they drive. We're starting to see the accidents, and a lot of people just take off without clearing their windows, back windows. You think it's self-explanatory, but we just want to remind people to do that.
Andy Snyder.
Same note, kind of on, from our standpoint, as we enter into the holidays, I know it gets busy, a lot of things happening, but keep in mind that this is the, most home fires happen at this time of year. And just have the public and residents take a little extra care with their Christmas decorations, space heaters, just a lot of the things that you would think would be common sense people put to the side, and unfortunately the result is a fire out of it. So,
And you had 2 fires, and thanks to your team at Maple Tree Apartments, and nobody lost their life, no injuries. Obviously, we have some people that can't move back in, but if people want to donate,
yeah, we've had a number of calls already, a number of texts to myself about people wanting to help out, being the time of year that it is, and there were 8 people in each apartment that lost pretty much everything. So they can reach out to the fire station. Number 1, we'll be able to get in touch with them and make the donations on their behalf, or at least even directly. So that's 219-362-3456. As the mayor mentioned, yeah, even though it really is a terrible time to have a fire, no good time to have a fire, in this case, everybody was safe and sound, got out. Our guys were able to rescue a dog that was still inside, was able to give him some oxygen, CPR, and bring him back. So a good end to a bad situation.
and as I've mentioned, this group of people, anybody that works for the city, really loves this city. And when you see events in the community, who is there helping? It's Nick Otis at the Turkey Trot, it's our council members, it's Jerry Jackson riding in the bike, Tour de La Porte, and that wasn't the Grinch that was repairing the Christmas tree on Saturday evening. It was Andy Snyder, who goes out on his own, no one knew, and I'm just calling him out on it because he thought he was going to get away with it, fixing and repairing the Christmas tree downtown, so thank you.
Thank you.
Bert Cook, Economic Development. I have no report this morning. Craig Phillips, Planning.
Good morning. Continuing to work on negotiations with consultants for the city's comprehensive plan project, hoping to bring that to the board at the next Board of Works meeting for approval. Work continues on several grant opportunities, very focused on several grant opportunities that will be focused on bringing additional housing opportunities to the city, including filing for the Regional Ready Grant being put out by the Northwest Indiana Forum, so focused on that and a deadline on that next month. And then the bid packet for the Beechwood Lakes property has been put out, and that's due back to the board at the second board meeting in January. So among other things, that's what we're working on right now.
Thank you. Beth West, Transport. Andrea Smith, HR.
Good morning. Just very quickly, North Shore signups for wellness screenings have started. Please contact Corrine or myself. We will need your email and phone number. North Shore will be calling you directly to schedule the wellness screening for you. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Jess Bruder, Communications.
Good morning. Just a reminder, we have lots of holiday events coming up this weekend, and I've been trying to put out like weekend guides every Friday. So if you're looking for something to do that's holiday related on the weekends, just be sure to check the Facebook page or liveinthelakeLife.org.
Thank you. Those that do not have business before the board, go enjoy a great day. New business, right of entry agreement, Truesdale Parcels.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a right of entry to do some environmental testing and soil testing on 2 Truesdale parcels that the city of LaPorte owns. This is so third parties can do that necessary testing.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Is that, I see it's with RDC, is that paid from RDC?
No, the agreement.
This doesn't cost us anything. It's just a
Yeah.
right of entry.
Normally, the RDC would be the one who approves this, but in this case, it's a redevelopment site that the ownership says City of LaPorte. So that's just, it's kind of an extra formality based on the deed.
And that motion passed 2-0. FOP Collective Bargaining Agreement.
This was, Mayor, you've been working both with the FOP and the fire to finalize a longer-term contract. Let you maybe kind of touch on some of the important points on your end, because you've met with them quite a few times.
Yes, and I appreciate the FOP working together. We looked at a variety of options. I think some will be brought back for the future, but we have to look at new ways to do things in public safety, whether it's police, whether it's fire, and I know we'll have a fire agreement coming up again, but, you know, our goal is to have our police and fire committed here to the city of LaPorte, and I think we took a great step forward in doing so. So with that, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes 2-0. One of the things I would like to talk about was the 4x4. You know, we look at quality of life in LaPorte, and one of the things that we went back and forth with the police were 4 days on, 4 days off to give quality of life, and we weren't able to get to an agreement this round, but I think this is something that is unique to the city. Nobody else in the state or in the area does it. The closest thing was Denver, Colorado, or I'm sorry, Golden, Colorado, and you know, we have to continue to look at new ways to do things. Paul Breton, Police Chief, drone quotes.
We're looking to expand our drone program. We bought a drone, I believe, probably going on 3 years old now. It's turned into such a valuable tool. I'm going to call up Dalton Fluhoff to come. He's in charge of our drone program. We have several operators. We're looking at expanding that every shift will have one available, so he doesn't get called out constantly like he does now. And also, we'll have one available for the Detective Bureau. I'll let Dalton explain.
Dalton, how are you?
Good, how are you, sir?
Good.
So with the drones that we're requesting, it's 2 DJI Mavic 3 thermals, and it's their Enterprise Editions. So essentially what these specific drones are highly capable of is their thermal capabilities and able to change their image qualities to better enhance our ability to find whether it's a subject in the woods, whether it's someone who committed a crime, or I've had a call out where a subject from one of the medical facilities broke out of their secure side, using a butter knife, right? And then they got out, so I've been called out to find them. But whatever the case is, these specific drones' thermal qualities are a lot more enhanced than what we have available to us right now. So it allows better imaging. Their AI systems that they have kind of built in with flying make it safer and easier for us to fly. It allows us to focus more on the mission itself, on what we're actually doing, rather than some of like the, like say I'm flying next to a building to go look at something. I can focus more on the picture and what's going on, and the safety systems within it allow it to help maneuver around that safely and all those capabilities. Another one of the things on there is a floodlight to be able to assist officers on the ground. So when covertness isn't, a big key factor, like when we were looking for subjects out near the Maple Tree Apartments and like the Commons and stuff like that, they were in the cornfields. Well, I had officers walking through the cornfields with no light. So if it came to a point where I found whoever it was we were looking for, turn on the floodlight lights up the area, and now the officers have complete visibility and an indicator of like, oh, hey, this is where I need to go type stuff. The regular camera on it is an optical and hybrid, so it's a hybrid zoom. It has optical and digital. Long story short on that, from essentially point to point, 1,500 something feet, you can see rust patterns on a field goal pulse. So it keeps a distance and safety and everything else in mind with the officers. It allows us to quickly be able to scan an entire area for something, rather than having to have 3, 4, 5, 6 officers try to create a full perimeter. You can see so much with these things. They're just an invaluable asset to the department, and to be able to get more of something like this is definitely going to help us in apprehending either subjects who've committed crimes or being able to find people who are in super need. So.
And I would say one of the best examples I heard, and I'll speak to it, was a couple weeks ago on Lakeshore Drive, where they had a drug trafficker barricaded in the basement.
Yes. So I was on that call as well. And that's actually something else we were looking at, is 2 of the DJI Mini 4 Pros. So at the time, we don't have a mini drone, right? We don't have an interior one. And so we called on LaPorte County Sheriff's Office to bring out their minis, and we were able to send that drone down into the basement, get a lay of the land, see what was going on, what the person was wearing, weapons involved, essentially a blueprint of what was going on down there. And then at that point in time, now we have a full situational awareness of what's going on. Make safer decisions, better decisions. Hey, can we hold off on making an emergency or an exigent, decision to go down there? Can we try and negotiate a little more? It just gives you all of these. It gives you more information on every situation. And if it gets beat out of this guy threw a shirt on top of it, and it took it down, it came back up, long story short, burned out the battery because the shirt got caught on it, but they were able to throw down another one as soon as we were ready, made the decision on what we were going to do, and the situation was handled very safely due to the information that the drone brought to us.
And officers weren't at risk walking into something they didn't know.
Exactly.
Or a canine.
Yeah, or a canine, because that was one of the other thoughts we had. Do we send a canine down there? Well, if the subject does have a weapon, like the information that we have, does the dog get hit? Does he not? Does he, there's so many different things. If a drone gets blown out of the sky, I get it. They're $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, whatever the drone is, we can buy another drone. It's not an officer or a canine losing a life or getting injured, so.
And just as a reminder, this is the drug trafficker that we originally arrested in January, and again, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, we're arresting again, so I don't know what's going on within the court system, but our officers are repetitively putting themselves in danger, arresting the same person that doesn't want to follow the rules in our community.
I mean, I certainly love the aspects of kind of extending, the law enforcement with these drones and being able to find, and even, I suppose, it can use to find people who are just in trouble that may not be sort of involved in criminal activity. Well, not to mention the safety for the officers, right, including canines. With the thermal drones, are they able to, with these new drones, are they able to see through walls?
It wouldn't be able to say, oh, there's a person right there behind that wall. It would have to produce such a heat signature, almost like a fire or like something like that. But one thing I did see actually this morning on the news that a drone may or may not have been able to help with, but it would have been a good situation to have out in, I believe it was Virginia. Officers were getting ready to approach and make entry on a house for a barricaded subject, and the house blew up. If this person would have been planning this and was creating some sort of pressure cooker bomb or something like that, and there was a very large abnormal heat signature, right? Because yes, I can see the thermal, but the drone's also going to tell me exactly what that temperature is based off of its thing. So if I see like, hey, we got a heat signature, oh, hey, that's like 400 degrees or 300 degrees or 200, you know what I mean? Something like crazy high. It may bring safety aspects. Hey, we're not going to go in there if we don't have to right now, because there's a lot of questions with that. And so it was just another thing to be able to look at. It helps with fires, being able to fly into the smoke, up and around, and be able to look 360 degrees around a scene for, safety on trying to find people, or maybe finding like the higher heat source. Maybe you can find where it originated from at the time to help, cut off a fuel for the fire. I mean, there's so many things that you can absolutely do with these drones, and they are, again, fairly expensive and whatnot, but right now this is what's going to set us forward in our program. We're doing coordinated training with LaPorte County, so that way all the operators are kind of working together. So if it comes down to it, we put 2-3 drones in the air at a time, we can cover almost the city, if we needed to. So we're working on better trainings and things like that, but we have to be able to have the equipment to operate with, right now, so.
And these funds will come out of your police budget?
Yes.
There's 3 quotes, and which one are we?
We're going to look at the Cloud City
Cloud City,
company. That's the one that I would
We also
recommend.
went with the warranty on that too, the extended warranty.
Yep, and they also gave us a pretty good discount, which none of the other companies did. Also, they're the ones that we're looking at for the minis as well. And their customer service has been great through and through.
We had a subject that was a commit suicide, had a weapon one day, and we were all out there with a perimeter. We called Dalton in from home, and just putting that drone up to look for him, our old school, we would just go out into the neighborhood and we would have just worked every alley, whatever, and just him, it was snowing bad that day, and just to put that up there and that tool to have it, what a time saver it was for us.
Yeah, we cleared that whole block, which is the same, if not a little bit more than what we would have done on foot in probably less than 15 minutes.
Plus, we had the school involved. It was right by the school, and we locked the school down, and those minutes, instead of spending an hour out there turning everything over.
And getting more of these and more operators and allowing them to be one with the detective bureau and having them on each shift and stuff like that will allow for officers not have to get called out so much, so therefore response time will be much quicker. Instead of me coming from the house, which takes me about probably 15 minutes from the time I get the call to the time I get in, now you have it in the back of a squad. They're on their way, their perimeter set, and it's up in. The nice thing about these new drones is it's a different configuration on the controller than what we have right now. If this was in the back of your car, from the time you stopped, got out, got the drone out, got it turned on and up in the air, you're looking at, I think it's about 60 seconds or less from the time you turn it on and actually get it flying. And then if you needed to get it up and say get it out 500 yards, you're looking at like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes.
I'd love the drone to be able to do something when they come in contact with these individuals as well. But we'll save that for another day. Do I have a motion to approve?
Mayor, just real quick, Dalton and I became pretty quick buddies here, I don't know, a year or so ago when he really there's some FAA regulations with these things that are really difficult, and he kept pushing and it took a long time, a lot of follow-up, and what this is turning into is a very great thing for the police department. So he deserves a lot of credit for that, because we didn't even know where to start with the FAA. We knew there's something you got to do, but there wasn't a great roadmap. So Dalton stuck with it. That was good.
We appreciate that, and I think the city's commitment to technology to keep police and fire safe is a good thing. So, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Equipment quotes.
Once again, I'll call on Tony. This is moving our department forward. We're in the position that we can do this now.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Tony McClintock, Property and Evidence Technician, LaPorte Police Department. Back again to present a couple of pieces of equipment that will help the police department operate more effectively and efficiently. So I'd like to thank Chief Britton and Administrative Assistant Tricia Metz for providing this information to you all. The first one is a diagramming software program. It's from a company called Transite Logic Systems. They're out of Idaho. This is a desktop software program that will be capable of creating scaled diagrams for a multitude of different situations, fire scenes, crime scenes, burglary, robbery scenes. The way it's done is if an investigator physically measures the crime scene, those numbers are put into this program, and so it will create these scaled diagrams. And these can be presented in court for exhibits, which is a really nice thing to have for the prosecution of these cases. So the cost is for 3 licenses, and then on top of that, there is a yearly maintenance fee per license, which is about $224. That covers the updates and upgrades for these licenses. The second piece of equipment is what's known as a crime scope. This is a piece of equipment from a company called Horiba Scientific and Specs Forensics, and they're out of New Jersey. So this is a completely portable electronic unit, so it's plugged into a standard 120 volt receptacle, and so this can be taken to crime scenes to aid in the search for evidence at these scenes. And it can also be used in-house, which more than likely it'll be used in-house more than at crime scenes, but it does have that capability. So this piece of equipment is equipped with 15 different light settings, which is measured in nanometers. And so this has the capabilities of examining for stains on clothing and bedding, depending on what crime scenes the investigators may be working. Has the capability of examining for fingerprints and for powder stains from like gunshot damage as well. So once again, this piece of equipment is essential for police departments, I think everywhere, as the equipment that I had talked about last time as well.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second, discussion. One thing I have, Roscoe, are you comfortable with the software? Works within our system, and I apologize, I didn't give you a chance to speak, but I'll get you before the end of the meeting.
I don't have that second piece of equipment. What's the cost on that? And is that from police budget as well?
Yes, yeah.
I don't have that.
Both items just out of the police department budget.
That was everything.
Well, I want to make sure, so I have the transit, I don't know if I have, do you have the quote?
I don't have, I have.
I have this.
Software I have. I don't have the
Software.
other.
Okay, I've got a copy if you'd like.
I got it
Thank
here.
Was this included in last week's packet, this one?
I mean, last board,
On Friday. I want to make sure that,
it should have been sent over. I thought it was.
so the transit quote,
So, yeah.
Yes, so
Is
the
there an
quote is
upfront-
for three licenses. And then the maintenance fee is just a yearly cost, so that's a combined cost for all 3 licenses. So the $224 is for all 3 licenses. But that is a yearly maintenance fee.
Do you see that number?
$250 per license?
That's a
Per
license
audit.
Okay.
So it's under
We're
the,
missing a page. It's,
Yeah, we
I am
must
on, I have page 2. I think we're missing page 1, but that's.
Oh, you know what, that's got, that would explain it, yeah. Let me see, that's what, yeah.
I have page 1 too. I don't know
That would be
what didn't
nice.
send
Yeah.
over there.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, maybe we'll just take a look at that. Thank you, Chief.
That show,
Right
page
there.
1.
Oh, okay, so it's the total package. 21, subscription.
this would be under the perpetual license plan.
Oh, okay. Oh, there it is, okay.
So is this an annual?
Yeah, that's got to be.
Thank you.
Because it's software. Thank you.
The maintenance is, yes, and the licenses.
Right, so the license is the upfront cost to obtain the software, which is 3 licenses. And then the yearly maintenance fee, that is the yearly cost.
That's the 224 for all
Yes,
3, right?
yes.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to hold off on this Horriba, because we have not seen this yet as of Friday. Let's put that aside, and let's go ahead and do the smart safety quote. And so what you're saying is the total package cost of $1,121 times 3.
No, so the $1,100, so that's for all 3
Okay.
licenses. So that's the combined cost for the 3 licenses.
And a year of the maintenance, and then the maintenance just.
Correct, so that's the
Okay.
perpetual charge for the
That's-
license,
that's
which is the
kind of the first year cost.
Yes.
right? Okay.
Motion to approve?
So moved for the trans site.
I will second that on the trans site. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Jerry Jackson, industrial permit renewal.
This is for New York Blower. They produce wastewater from cleaning the metal they use to make their fans before they coat. So they use a phosphorus solution, and so zinc and copper are a concern. They're not a large discharger, and have always been in compliance, never an issue. They only sample a couple times a year for most of the parameters. The new permit would be a renewal for 3 years. During that 3 years, there might be modifications if they change their process or whatever, but generally it's 3 years as is. No issues with New York Blower. They're a good customer. I'd recommend a renewal of their permit.
And yeah, Blower, that's the thing. They are a great partner in our community. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Nick Minnick, change order.
We have a change order for contract T44009, which is emergency vehicle preemption. This is our, through NDOT and NERC, we were able to get the Opticom system throughout the city. All of that is installed. There was some funds available, and the bulk of this change order, they've broken it into 3, and I just got an email from NDOT. They actually want to break it into 4 change orders. Like I said, the bulk of this is 75 additional vehicle units so that we can get more vehicles online with the Opticom system. The first change order.
Nick, can you explain that?
Yeah, so what we have, the Opticom system is a GPS-based emergency vehicle preemption system. So essentially, as a fire truck right now goes up to a signal, and if it's active, if their truck is activated, the signal will change, and they can respond to a situation faster. We have all of our fire trucks currently on that system, correct? Yeah. We don't have, say, our police vehicles. We don't have, EMS isn't currently on the system. A lot of them are using older, if they even exist in the city, which not a lot of it does, line of sight. So line of sight has to be calibrated regularly. It doesn't work quite as well. This is really nice. Police vehicle comes around a corner, and they need that signal to change around the corner. The GPS kind of helps eliminate that line of sight issue. Honestly, it's great opportunity for us. It's a life-saving thing. That's wonderful for our community. And Andy can speak a little bit to it too.
It's working out exceptionally well right now. We've only had it in effect for 3-4 months, but it is, to take it to the next level of what Nick's talking about, it is, to technology part, it's taking into account the traffic patterns that are happening at that point in time. It's not only giving us the right-of-way for our trucks, but it's also making it safer for those people approaching those intersections. I think Courtney can maybe attest to it, because one day when we were running a test, I happened to notice she was in front of us in a
Doing the speed
personal.
limit.
Yeah, yes, we were doing a speed limit, but we were doing a test with one of the reps in town in his vehicle, and he had it set up to make sure that everything was operational. We don't want to learn that in an emergency situation. She happened to be in front of us. She got back to City Hall in record time that day.
She usually does.
Light change. But it's amazing how it is taken into all those accounts, and even our guys have thought at times, well, it didn't give me the light when I thought it should, but it was taken into the account that the traffic that was approaching those lights was not going to give them enough time to clear the light, and would have created a more dangerous situation had they been able to get the light. Probably from a public's perspective, and maybe to keep your eyes open for it, you'll notice when this is activated, there is a white light on each one of the cross arms on all of the traffic signals in town. If you see that white light activated or that white light lit, that means that there is an emergency vehicle within range that is asking for permission to get the preemption activated and get through the signal first and foremost.
And you said EMS, and I know Courtney mentioned it. Will the county be participating financially?
We haven't pushed the issue too much, because the majority of this is just city vehicles, and I mean the units left over would really only be able to cover kind of those emergency vehicles that are operating in the city. So, you know, we're
Yeah, and the sheriff and EMS director have been part of these discussions, probably better than a year and a half. They've been sitting in on it. They have indicated that they're all in for it. And
Good.
even if this would cover just a few of their vehicles to start with, they know that as we go through the steps to equip all of their vehicles, or at least the ones that are unique to the city of LaPorte or going through the city of LaPorte, that they would be participative in it, so.
Financially?
Yes, yes.
Good.
Yeah, they know, it's just working out, and I know Nick has worked real hard to keep this more at a grant level type situation than at a local level expenditure. And I think that's where this is coming from, is to try to be our part of what we need to contribute to make this happen at this level. Ultimately, we would love to see this as a county-wide. Lake County just did that. That's where kind of what we're patterning after with NERC. And right now, we just have not had the buy-in from Michigan City, unfortunately. But hopefully, that will happen in the future. They do have a system in place. It's really not operational to speak of right now because it is so antiquated. But as I think we move forward, hopefully, you know, we'll be able to get them, and it'll be a countywide thing. And that's, again, something that NERC, from speaking from the side, I think really looks forward to fund and be a part of.
Do I have a, oh, go ahead.
Well, I guess we could, yeah.
No, go ahead,
We'll move
motion.
and we can talk about it, I guess. So I'll move, we approve.
Second, discussion.
So if then down the road in a year or two, whatever, the county then comes on board, or whether it's sheriff's department or whatever, EMS, will these systems have interoperability so that they can just
They,
slip
again,
right
the
in
way
these-
this system works is it prioritizes, they tell it, and it's all been programmed into what's been done so far. Right now, fire, obviously the only one operating on it, takes priority over all others. Then they can prioritize it. Do they want EMS to get second, police third, vice versa, whatever? That will all be programmed into the system. I think it may already be programmed into the system. Ultimately, all the way down to, and I don't think we want to get to that point, but transport. Some cities allow transport, their systems to be program in and get preemption for it. I know Mayor has mentioned that he would like to be on the scale right there, but yeah, so it is. And again, this will allow some, at the bare minimum, the county to start participating in this. And then as we move forward and more funds become available, hopefully they'll get all of them. Obviously, you know, an ambulance down in Wanata has very little need to be coming through the city of LaPorte with this preemption system. But if it was a countywide system, then that would definitely figure into the mix.
So I do have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Unfinished business. Do I have a motion to take quote for leases off being tabled and bring to the agenda? And this is for the leases on the automobiles. You missed last meeting where we had this discussion. I think we can finalize this regarding the LaPorte Dodge. Chief, could you first of all, do I have a motion to on table?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Chief, can you explain what we're trying to do here with the cars?
We reduced that number to 8 cars. We're trading 9 problematic 2018s. They sound new, but we've had a lot of electrical issues with these Durangos. This is switching to Chargers, which are easier on gas. And personally, I believe they're a better police vehicle. Your gear is stored away where it's out of view. We recently, back in March, we had a accident with one of the Durangos, and everything in that cargo area ended up around the officer, and that was a real eye-opener to me. I know that a lot of departments are going to them. I'm not a big fan of the SUVs for police use.
And Dodge has sent a letter, because the one thing we want to make sure the department in the future understands our commitment financially. So after this credit runs out in 2.5 years,
About 2.5 years of lease payments that will be able to be credited toward the lease payment. After that runs out, it's a yearly lease price of an additional $50,400, and Chief Breton has kind of line itemed out of his budget where that would come from.
so we have where it'll come, but the total lease payments will be
Around $125,000 from the police budget.
in 2.5 years. So as Chief's done, he broke it out. But at some point, we'll have to have an automatic line item of 125,000 taken out, because that'll be time for negotiations and coming up. And we just want to make sure that everybody understands this. After the credit runs, there'll be $125,000 that'll be committed off the budget.
So we're approving the credit, we're approving kind of the,
No, you're
And the
not,
purchase.
the
trade-in
lease.
credit.
Yeah.
And then the lease.
And if you see the monthly payment on a car of $525 is extremely cheap, and it's believe it's over $100 less a month than a Durango. That's why I've moved away from the Durangos.
And we'll get the lease documents from
Right.
Matt Magnuson. He always brings it after the fact. So, yeah, we need approval to sign the lease agreements for these 8 vehicles and trade these
Right.
2018s in.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Do I have a motion to untable farmed and foraged agreement?
So moved.
Second, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. So also in the last meeting, we had a discussion about farmed and foraged. We know the success that we've had, so we have an agreement coming again for next year. A couple points, Mr. Otis, was that I think it's still on there, but that the city will not be, and Mandy, who's done a wonderful, Crickhand, who's done a wonderful job, does farmed and forage. It's still on there that the drop-off and pick-up barricades and picnic tables every Sunday. We will not be doing the drop-off and pick-up every week. I think Jeff Batchelor said we'll drop them off at the beginning of the year, and Farmed and Forage will put them up. She's agreed to that, and then the picnic tables will stay as well. Versus
We have a spot for that there?
Yeah, we did same place this summer,
Yeah, same spot where the ice rink is.
Oh, got it, okay.
and I think one of the barricades will be left there, but it won't be the city's responsibility to come. And we can just update that.
And the storage, I believe. The storage.
We will not be storing.
And then the last thing I saw still on there is staffing, on page 6, staffing for event setup and tear down is still on there?
Correct.
Okay.
So that'll be off.
So you got two options. You can either bump this to the next meeting, or if you want to approve it with the caveat that you let legal finalize that part of it.
I would like to have a motion to approve it based on legal, working with the
Yep.
final piece of
Financial amounts are not changing, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And the payments are coming from the UEA still, correct?
payment is coming from the UEA to the city,
To the city, okay.
and the city will make a payment before the end of the year.
Okay.
And can
Please.
did they mention something about the no parking? We've been going out there and supplying the no parking signs too, and then the manpower to put those up, which has always been a reminder every week to do that.
We're,
On Monroe, right?
We were on Monroe, because
Right.
this will extend this time
Right.
because of the success to Washington.
Also, and blocking then state, so blocking state or?
Blocking state during that time.
And what we've been doing is putting up the temporary signs and taking them back down with the zip ties, and then if it rains the night before or whatever, then it's a big issue. It's a lot of manpower.
Permanent or?
We're looking at doing permanent signs like we did, where we can just fold them down and they'll be gone, disappear during the day, or during the week, and then when it comes up, when the farm comes back, then we just take them, flip them
Unlock
back
and
up.
flip them up.
And you're working with Mandy to make sure she understands.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I do have, go
So
ahead.
I'll move we approve this agreement, I guess with legal review to ensure that we've changed the items we talked about, the drop-off, the pickup, the signage. What am I missing? Am I missing something?
Storage
Storage.
and staffing.
And
We'll take all
staffing.
those out.
Second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. So we have a third item regarding intern agreement related to the police department. This one was that we had discussion at the last meeting. Do I have a motion to untable?
So moved.
Second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is untabled here, this item. Intern agreement where chief has a individual that would like to intern. And I think the biggest concern we had was from a health perspective. It's not as if somebody's interning in communications up in the office somewhere. They're out and about on the street. There could be a medical related issue. Somebody's injured and so forth. Have we, I know Andrea Smith is here as well, have we worked out the details of that?
Yes, we have a release.
So we will add a waiver of release that the city will not be responsible for any type of
Correct.
medical. Andrea Smith?
Thank you, Board. I forwarded from Tokyo Marine to Nick the waiver, and Nick has looked it over and approved it.
We will add that waiver.
So we're looking to approve the internship with with a waiver.
Correct.
Okay.
And speaking with Aiden, he's more than willing to sign anything. He's very excited about this.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes. Other business, if I could call Roscoe Hoffman, IT Director, for his director report. This is your first one, we should do this, you know. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Just an update, I know I'd spoken to Chief Breton earlier. We had been trying to make some changes, PD, and we switched over the forms. The current process that they're using at PD right now is an antiquated system, OmniForms, that you can no longer update. and it's actually a separate server. So what I ended up creating was just something in SharePoint that's something we're already paying for in our Microsoft 365. And it's something that the officers will have direct access to fillable PDFs, which actually makes it easier for them. They were using Word documents. So now they'll be able to, any of the prosecutor charging forms, they're able to do directly in there. It makes it so much faster. It's speeding up the process. And a lot of it was that for them being able to, the ease of use. The next step is actually putting things in the RMS system, and we have been discussing that, which will really advance our police department with what we're looking at doing with drones. This is really going to move our police department in the forward and progressing and accelerating at a great speed. The next thing too was also GPS. The GPS systems, there's a protocol that I believe we have set up at PD, and one of the things I noticed was there were officers who we could not see their GPS on. So if an officer was on a traffic stop and he had some sort of safety issue, we don't know where he is. So one of the things we made sure we implemented, and I believe I double-checked yesterday, Chief, and the majority of our officers are now, their GPS is on. So this is helping for our officer safety. If there's an officer somewhere and we don't know where he is, we can just look on the maps, which is on the system, and you know exactly where an officer is. Our response time can be shortened greatly, and so it's helping with safety, but it's also helping our dispatch. Yesterday, we also had an issue. I found out yesterday, and I wish I'd have found out sooner, Chief Breton, there was an issue with the mobile CAD system. Chief, nobody had told me, and if we can, I want to talk to the guys to make sure they let me know on Sunday. I just made a phone call to my contact at Caliber. In 5 minutes, we had the system back up, which really helps the guys moving forward. Also, Civic, they had a problem with their PC. We were looking at purchasing one. I wanted to do a second look at it and found out it was just a program that was bad. We did the work inside the program, saved money, which is what I like. So things are moving forward. Thank you, sir.
Well, you've already made an impact, and by the way, we'll also be setting up time here very soon, very soon with Think Tank.
Wonderful.
To look and compare duplications versus what can Roscoe do that they don't have to do.
So I also had a meeting with one of the gentlemen with Think Tank, and one of the things was also our software and a lot of our installs and purchases. I said, I don't want to go through you guys. If I already know what we need, I already know what we have, why do I have to go through you? And he actually said, no, you don't have to go through me. You can do it yourself without talking to me, which was great, because that was something that Nick and I had talked about, so.
Just a quick question on the GPS, is that, so that's not in the vehicle, that's on the officer's person, right? So if they're out of the vehicle.
So that is actually in the vehicle. You're actually moving to a next step process that I'm looking at. So first step, I want to make sure I know where every vehicle is. We want to know where every vehicle is. The next process is the Caliber system enables for 2 GPS points. So I can have the vehicle location, but let's say the officer's in a foot pursuit. It will automatically switch to that officer's GPS, and I believe our camera systems have GPS capability. Yeah. So we would just have to put, well, not me anymore, but they would have to put in the system our 2 GPS locations. And from that, so then now we not just have the vehicle safety, but if an officer's in a foot pursuit, we know where the officer is, we know which direction he's going. And this is something last year I'd done when I was at county. This was something we had worked at doing, so have a little knowledge of it.
It's such an amazing tool. When I worked midnights, you can pull up that map, you can see every Michigan City car, you can see every county car, where that's at. If you don't hear, something could be a mile from the city and you have a county officer yelling for help. If we don't hear where he is, we pull up that map and it shows us right where he's at. And that's, everybody was a little leery of GPS, but now they all love it.
Exactly. When it comes to officer safety, the GPS is, for me, it's mandatory. Because if we're talking about the safety of our citizens, we have to look at also the safety of our officers who are serving the city. Our fire as well, is something I was going to talk to you as well too, sir. Because we're talking about safety, and I think it's very important.
Thank you. Glad to have you.
Thank you, sir.
Other business, I want a quick shout out to Brett Benversi for his amazing pop-up Christmas event this past Sunday. It was unbelievably packed. There were so many people there, and I keep going back to Mark Schreiber saying the Civic wasn't meant to be a museum. And Brett has certainly done his job to make sure that people are in and out of there every day. So that was wonderful. Also, this coming week, December 8th, I believe, businesses will be out open. Many of them will be open extended Friday evening. And there'll also be ice skating available. And anything else for the holiday?
Yes, Mayor, the resolution approving the development agreement for Park Street was approved last night. This does involve a contract, so we'd ask that the Board of Works also approve the development agreement. This is for property that the city annexed, that the council annexed earlier this year along Park Street and Severs Road for a pretty significant residential development of 34 acres. The city agrees to provide pretty significant water and wastewater infrastructure for this project. In exchange, the developer agrees to start construction by September 1st of next year. If I could have Bert come up and explain a little
Cook.
bit.
As soon as you said water and wastewater, I heard these two over here without even looking, going, where's this coming from?
Yeah, good morning to the Board of Public Works. Bert Cook, Executive Director of the LaPorte Economic Advancement Partnership. Mayor, I would sympathize. Don't feel bad about forgetting Roscoe this morning. I forgot Mark Schreiber last week at the State of the City. So. No, excited about this agreement. Appreciate the City Council's support last night. Nick hit some of the highlights, but exciting to be able to put to use a property that we recently annexed into the city. The end product will ultimately be 118 townhomes and 19 single-family homes. At the council meeting last night, we had, I think, good discussion on trying to drive the price of those homes down as much as possible. And the developer, John Kovacek, who was here in partnership with Redstone Homes, expressed a desire that as interest rates improve and cost of goods go down, the hope is to be able to kind of hit that sub 300,000 price point if possible. Appreciate Jerry, Tim, and Nick as they've played an integral part in figuring out how to serve this site. It's water and wastewater is a key component to being able to develop this property, and they obviously came to the table and found ways to make that happen. 2 years ago, we began working with this developer when a project that they were considering in the county failed. I believe they had some issues at Plan Commission. Mayor Dermody and I reached out to the developer immediately following and suggested we'd
The next day,
correct. Suggested we'd love to work with them on a project in the city limits. And we've spent the last couple years trying to identify the right property to move forward on. And this is the result of those efforts. And so I know they're excited to get started. I think Nick mentioned September of next year they're required to begin construction, and I know they're prepared to begin even sooner than that. As quickly as we can react, they're ready to get the process started. Anything else I forgot, Nick, that we need to mention?
Maybe just real quick from Mr. Warner, since this is on the north side on Severs Road, this will also potentially tie into the development with 39 North, is that right?
Yeah, part of the plan for the 39 North improvements is extending that 16-inch main from Thomas Rose down Severs Road to 39 North for an additional suction line for the booster station. So this will include a small portion of that work also, running the 16 to, what is that, 100? I think it's 100 West right there. And then we'll be able to loop that development in down to Kumler Drive off of a 10-inch main there. So it'll be a well-protected area, help out the industrial side of the backside of Thomas Rose with a loop system also.
This developer, I touched on it, but I'll elaborate a little bit. They worked closely with Craig Phillips in our planning department to make sure that the end product is what we believe is most needed in the city. Obviously, the developer sees that demand, but we also agree. So we found a product mix that I think results in a cheaper and a more affordable unit for individuals, but also serves that greater need that we have within our community. And I'd also like to share my appreciation. Matt Hagenow, attorney for the Redevelopment Commission, Bill Nelson, attorney for the developer, and Jim Kaminsky, attorney for the property, the selling property, all worked really well together to put this, to get the agreement in place and ultimately find a deal that works for everybody, and it's always enjoyable getting to kind of work with that team of people too.
As well, as a reminder to everybody, we've said housing, housing, housing. We have Steiner Builders, 18th Street. We have Timma Bakery with Habitat for Humanity. We have housing opportunities at the Koch building. We have a bid going out for Beechwood Lakes, our gem, and Mitch Ficus Builders is looking at a Phase 8. So, despite not having much development, if any, over the last 30 years, we are focused on improving that situation to make sure we have housing for all. Not just affordable, but also high-end. And I think one thing that Craig Phillips mentioned last evening, those individuals that could purchase a higher-end home financially, pay more, are taking homes away from those moderate income individuals and families because there aren't a lot of options. So thanks to both of you. We look forward to do this. Are we approving? And Craig, anything you'd like to add?
No, I think
and not from the seat, if you'd like to come forward.
you just want to make them stand
Yes.
up.
No, I think we touched on everything. It adds to the mix of the overall housing needs for the city, and we're excited to work with this developer to provide for this option for residents of the city and future residents of the city. So,
Mayor, this developer is based in Grand Rapids, is that correct, guys? It looks like Michigan.
Well, there's,
Redstone Homes.
part of the team is,
Yeah.
You have part of the team out of Michigan, Chicago, and then Indiana as well.
Looking at their website, they've got prices starting at $299. I mean, that's in Grand Rapids, for example, which is probably a little higher price points. So hopefully they can come in, in that price point that was mentioned last night.
So we will be approving the press release and
development.
the agreement.
Just the development agreement.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second discussion. Are you excited about housing?
I am. I mean, you really touched on it, right? The housing study indicated that, and I don't think people are really aware that the lack of even high-end homes puts pressure on, the other ends of the market, right? Because folks who can afford more home are buying mid-range or whatever the case. I mean, just to kind of oversimplify it, but it's going to really open up supply for more people.
None of this occurs in a vacuum, right? So they have effects throughout the spectrum of homes. Mayor mentioned in his State of the City address last week, and I think it's kind of a staggering fact, if only 20% of our entire housing stock in the city of LaPorte was built after 1980. That is incredibly problematic, and that's the issue that we're dealing with today.
And when people wonder why we're not growing, and you see other communities where, even well beyond just our county, beyond that, I think of Whitestown down in Indiana, there's developers building hundreds and hundreds of sites, purely doing it on spec, right? Anticipating that you build, and then people will buy those homes. So we've just really not had that in LaPorte, I'd say, well, ever, but really not in a long time, right? So, no, I think this is wonderful.
Well, as well, and, even the Kumler Park area back there, You know, you've got the, what do we say, what type of home, you know, back when the ammunition plants were working, and we've got those homes that their livelihood is coming to an end.
Yeah.
And those people, well past, and those people deserve, and we're not gonna tolerate rentals, putting dumps some places in that area, but those homes have to be addressed, because it's clear nobody's going to address them unless we get engaged. With that, we do have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Great work, gents.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.